What's up, Wrestle Scope family? And hold on. Before you even think about scrolling past this video, I need you to stop whatever you're doing right now because what I'm about to tell you is going to absolutely shake the wrestling world to its core. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, two of the biggest names in professional wrestling, the power couple that defines what it means to be WWE royalty, have just dropped news that no one saw coming, and I mean absolutely no one. This isn't clickbait. This isn't speculation. This is real. This is happening. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why the entire wrestling community is in absolute chaos right now. Hello viewers, if you're new here, please don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button for daily updates on WWE Raw. Here's what absolutely infuriates me, and I know it's going to make your blood boil too. For months, no years, we've watched Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch give everything to this business. Seth has destroyed his body night after night, carrying WWE on his back through some of the company's most challenging times. Becky Lynch literally redefined what it means to be a women's wrestler, becoming the man and proving that women can main event WrestleMania. These two have sacrificed time with their family, time with their daughter Rue, and time for themselves, all for us, the fans, and for the business they love. And how does the wrestling world respond? How do the so-called experts and keyboard warriors react when this couple makes a decision about their own lives? They criticize, they judge, they act like they're entitled to control every aspect of these performers' personal lives. Let me tell you something that's going to make some people uncomfortable, and I don't care. Seth and Becky don't owe us their entire existence. They don't owe us every waking moment. They're human beings with lives, dreams, and aspirations beyond that squared circle. But here's where it gets even more outrageous. The news they've just revealed isn't just big, it's monumental. And the fact that some fans are already in the comment sections across social media complaining about what this might mean for their on-screen time, that's absolutely disgusting. Do you want to know what they announced? Do you want to know what has the entire WWE locker room buzzing, what has industry insiders scrambling for information, and what has social media absolutely melting down? Well, buckle up because this is where things get really interesting. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch have just announced that they're expanding their family. They're expecting their second child. Now, before you think, oh, that's sweet, congratulations, wait, because there's so much more to this story that's going to absolutely blow your mind. This announcement comes at quite literally one of the most critical junctures in both of their careers. Let's break this down piece by piece because the implications are absolutely massive. Seth Rollins is currently in the middle of one of the most physically demanding periods of his entire career. We've watched him battle through injury after injury, the back problems, the knee issues, and yet he still shows up every single week to perform at an elite level. This man has been WWE's most reliable main event talent for nearly a decade. And Becky, the man herself, has been masterfully navigating her return to WWE after having Rue. She's shown the entire world that you can be a mother and be at the absolute pinnacle of professional wrestling. She's been an inspiration to countless women who thought they had to choose between family and career. But here's what nobody is talking about, and this is what's going to make you see this announcement in a completely different light. The timing of this announcement is absolutely calculated, and it reveals something about Seth and Becky's priorities that should make every wrestling fan stand up and applaud. Think about it. We're heading into WrestleMania season, the most important time of year in professional wrestling. This is when legends are made, when storylines culminate, when performers position themselves for the biggest paydays of their careers. And what do Seth and Becky do? They announce they're having another child, essentially telling the world, you know what? Family comes first. Our personal happiness comes first, and we're not going to apologize for it. That's not just brave, that's revolutionary in an industry that has historically demanded performers sacrifice everything for the business. Now, let's talk about what this really means for WWE, for their careers, and for the wrestling business as a whole, because this is where things get absolutely fascinating. First, let's address the elephant in the room that has toxic fans already complaining online. What about their pushes? What about their storylines? What about me and what I want to watch? And to those people, I say, get over yourselves. But let's actually analyze this intelligently because there are legitimate questions about how WWE is going to handle this situation, and the answers reveal a lot about how far the wrestling business has come. When Becky announced her first pregnancy in 2020, she was the Raw Women's Champion and at the absolute peak of her popularity. The man was the hottest act in all of wrestling, men's or women's divisions combined. And she walked away with grace, relinquished her title, and showed the world that you can make family a priority without burning bridges.
Her return in 2021 was explosive. She came back better than ever, proving that taking time off for family doesn't end your career. It can actually enhance it if the company handles it correctly. This time, we're in a different situation. Becky isn't currently holding championship gold, but she's been positioned as one of the most important veterans in the women's division. She's been helping elevate the next generation of talent while still being positioned as a top-tier performer herself. Here's what's brilliant about the timing. WWE's women's division is the strongest it has ever been. You've got Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, Bayley, the list goes on and on. The division doesn't need to rely on one single performer to carry the entire show anymore. This means Becky can step away knowing that the division she helped build is in incredible hands. That's not a weakness. That's a testament to her legacy. This is where things get really interesting, folks, because Seth's situation is completely different, and the way WWE handles this could set a precedent that changes the wrestling business forever. Seth doesn't have to take physical time off like Becky will, but here's what smart people are recognizing. Seth is about to have 2 young children at home. He's about to be a father of 2, and if you think that doesn't affect how he thinks about taking bumps, how he thinks about his schedule, how he thinks about his future in wrestling, then you're not paying attention. We've seen it before. When wrestlers become parents, especially parents of multiple children, their entire perspective shifts. Suddenly that dangerous spot off the cage doesn't seem worth it. Suddenly working 250 days a year doesn't seem reasonable. Suddenly they start thinking about longevity over one more main event match. And you know what? Good for them. The toxic grind culture in professional wrestling has destroyed countless lives, ruined countless relationships, and ended countless careers prematurely. If Seth Rollins decides that being present for his children is more important than working himself into an early grave, then he's not just making a smart personal decision, he's being a role model for the next generation of performers. But let's zoom out for a second, because this announcement represents something much bigger than just Seth and Becky's personal lives. This is about the evolution of professional wrestling as an industry. For decades, literally decades, professional wrestling operated under a toxic system that demanded performers sacrifice everything for the business. Your body? Break it. Your relationships? Destroy them. Your mental health? Who cares? Get in the ring. We've lost too many wrestlers too young. We've seen too many broken families. We've heard too many horror stories about what the old system demanded from performers. And now, in 2026, we're watching the new generation of wrestling, led by people like Seth and Becky, say no more. This isn't just about one couple having another baby. This is about normalizing the idea that wrestlers are people with lives outside the ring. This is about creating a sustainable industry where performers don't have to choose between career success and personal fulfillment. Let me give you some context that's going to blow your mind. When Stone Cold Steve Austin was at the peak of his career, he was working hurt, working through personal problems, working through everything because that's what the business demanded. The result? His career was cut short because his body couldn't take it anymore. When John Cena was the top guy, he worked through injuries that should have sidelined him for months. He famously had almost no personal life for years because WWE needed him at every show, every promotional appearance, every media event. These guys were heroes for doing this, and they absolutely deserve respect for their dedication. But should that be the standard? Should we expect every performer to literally destroy themselves for our entertainment? Hell no. What Seth and Becky are doing, building their family while still being top performers, represents a new way forward, a sustainable way forward, a way that says you can be great at your job and be present for your family. And here's what's amazing. WWE seems to actually support this. Think about how different this is from even just 10 years ago. A decade ago, if a top male performer said, "Hey, I want to scale back my schedule because I'm having another kid," he would have been buried. He would have lost his push, lost his spot, and been forgotten. But in 2026, we're seeing WWE actually work with performers to create schedules that allow for work-life balance. We're seeing the company understand that happy, healthy performers are actually better performers. This is revolutionary, people, and it's happening right before our eye. Now let's talk about how the wrestling world has reacted to this news, because that's where things get absolutely wild. Social media has exploded, and I mean exploded. Twitter, or X, or whatever we're calling it now, has been absolutely melting down since the announcement dropped. You've got 3 distinct groups of people responding, and honestly, their reactions tell us a lot about the current state of wrestling fandom. These are the rational, emotionally intelligent fans who immediately sent congratulations and support. These are the people who understand that Seth and Becky are human beings who deserve happiness outside of wrestling. These are the real fans who celebrate their fans' personal successes as much as their professional ones. Wrestlers from across the industry, WWE, AEW, independent promotions, have been sending love and support. This shows you the respect that Seth and Becky have earned from their peers. When your fellow performers are genuinely happy for you, that's when you know you've done something right in this business. 2, the concerned fans. These are the people asking legitimate questions. What does this mean for WrestleMania plans? How will WWE book around this? Will we see them both at WrestleMania 42? These are fair questions. These fans aren't being toxic. They're just invested in the product and curious about how this affects storylines they're following. This is actually healthy fandom. Wanting to understand the implications while still supporting the performers, that's what being a real fan is all about. 3, the toxic trolls. And then we have these people. Oh boy, where do I even start? These are the fans who immediately started complaining that Becky is abandoning the division again. These are the people saying Seth is not committed to the business. These are the keyboard warriors who think they're entitled to control every aspect of these performers' personal lives. To these people, I have one thing to say. You are exactly what's wrong with wrestling fandom today. Let me be crystal clear. Seth and Becky Lynch have given more to professional wrestling than most of you will ever give to anything in your entire lives. They've earned the right to make decisions about their personal lives without your approval. The entitlement that some fans display is absolutely staggering, acting like these performers are your property, like they exist solely for your entertainment, like they don't deserve to have families and personal lives. It's disgusting. And here's what these toxic fans don't understand. This kind of support for performers' personal lives is what's going to save wrestling in the long term. When companies support their talent, when fans support their fans as people, that's when you build loyalty. That's when you create an environment where the best performers want to stay. You know what the alternative is? The alternative is performers leaving for Hollywood, for other opportunities, for anywhere that treats them like human beings.